Hi, my name is Mary Ann Walker and I'm here today from Copic Markers. I'm the product specialist and I wanted to share today with Archivers customers some of the fabulous things that you can do with the new markers available at Archivers, Copic Markers. These markers are double-ended refillable markers that are alcohol-based, so you can use them not just for coloring cards and altering your scrapbook pages, but also for changing the colors of embellishments and really making your work look more exciting. So let's work together and figure out how to use these markers best. The image that we're coloring today is a stamp by our Craft Lounge. This set is called Anime. And it's actually one that I drew based on my daughter, whose name is Anime. And so I'm going to color this cute little girl with the markers that I think will make her pop out the most. When I'm coloring with these markers, what I want you to notice is the markers have two ends. I'm always coloring with the brush end because the brush is very flexible and it allows me to get into tight spaces. Notice that I can color in small circles and evenly soak the paper for best results. Even on the tiniest areas, I have no problem getting clean, smooth, colored areas. What really makes these markers great is their ability to blend. And so I'm going to take just a slightly darker color and add tiny hints of shadow to really make her look not so flat. So I can layer one color right over the top. Let me show you what I mean on a slightly larger area like her dress. Again, I'm using the brush and I'm coloring in circles. I'm sure to keep all my edges evenly soaked so that I don't get streaks. I want the paper to be nice and absorbent. So you want to work on an absorbent cardstock rather than a glossy paper. On this cardstock, I can tell how well I've been coloring because if I turn the card over, I can see that it's evenly soaked on the back side. Many papers that you're working with Copic markers on will bleed through, so always work with scratch paper underneath. Then I'm going to come in with a slightly darker color. This time, instead of coloring in circles, I'm going to flick my wrist, giving smooth blended strokes. Then I come back with my lighter color and I go right over the top of those darker strokes. And you see how it evenly blends together so that when I'm done, I get a nice smooth blend from light to dark. If it's not dark enough, I can always come back with the same colors and darken it up a little bit more. Whenever I choose colors to work with Copic markers, I always pick them in either pairs or triples. So something like her skirt, I picked a light blue-violet and a darker blue-violet because you want to have colors that will blend well together and look vibrant. And you can't get that from just a single marker. You have to use pairs. So anytime I color, I want to add depth through the smooth blends. Just like this bow now looks so much more dimensional because I used two different colors. And let's quickly do her shoes. And again, they look very flat until I add just a hint of dimension with the darker marker. Even when I'm coloring something like her hair with a nice pale yellow, I don't have to worry about getting a darker color on the tip of the marker. It comes right off. So you can blend any colors and it's not going to ruin your marker. Adding just a little hint of a darker yellow. Let's go ahead and give her some yellow accents. One of the beauties of these markers is the tip is very flexible and you can get lots of neat patterns from that tip. So I can just touch the tip of the marker to the paper and we can show our little stamp giving some love. I can have her with a butterfly floating around. And now look at how cute our scene is. Another great thing to do with that flexible brush is simple grass. Just with a flick of your wrist, you can get a gorgeous little image from a simple stamp. When you're coloring with Copic markers, one of the essential tools that you want to get is the Copic Colorless Blender. This is not a tool for blending, rather it's a tool that does a couple of things. First thing that it does is it can add highlights. So if her dress is too dark, I can go in and lighten it up with the Colorless Blender. And you can get a couple shades lighter just by doing a few quick strokes. Another thing that the Colorless Blender does is it fixes mistakes. So over here, where I've gone outside the lines, I can use the Colorless Blender and push that color back towards my image so that I don't have to worry about being perfect all the time, because none of us are perfect. And you can see that already it's worked much better on that mistake. If I don't get it all the first time, I let it dry and I come back again and I can get more of it washed away. The last thing that the Colorless Blender is great for is special effects. So just by touching that blender to a colored area, I can get perfect little dots. And our little anime stamp now has a gorgeous polka dotted dress. I love the Copic markers because they offer so much range of color. Archivers carries 72 colors and the Colorless Blender. So with the Colorless Blender, those 72 colors expand into hundreds, if not thousands, of color options for your projects. So with such a wide array of colors, I think that you will have a fabulous time if you visit your local Archivers store and give a chance to play with the product, take a workshop, and see how these can make your projects look better. I know that you'll fall in love with the markers just like I have.